Creativity in the Age of COVID with Dr. Judi Bloom and Richard Skipper. It's the only program in which therapy and entertainment come together to show everyone not only how to cope in the age of COVID, but how to be creatively productive through it all. And now, Dr. Judi Bloom and Richard Skipper.
Happy Halloween! How are you?
Yes, it's actually my favorite holiday.
Is it really?
Yeah, it always
What's
has.
it that you actually love about Halloween?
It lets you indulge all your fantasies, right? You know, we get to dress up as whatever we feel like. You know, we can tap. It really taps into that inner child, I think. And you know, and you're going out and getting candy, and you're people are in a great mood usually on Halloween, whereas some of the other holidays becomes sort of overwhelmingly a lot of family stuff, and you know, it can be difficult. Halloween is just about having fun. So
Do you have a favorite Halloween memory as a child or even as an adult? I mean, a lot of people, you know, this is the funny thing about Halloween. I don't know what it's like where you are, but in our neighborhood, I feel that people go out even more so than they do for Christmas or any other holiday. I read recently that people spend more money on Halloween than any other holiday. And do you want to hear the surprising thing?
really,
They spend it on their pets. Trying to dress up my dog for Halloween is a no-no.
there are a lot of dressed up dogs out there. It's really true.
Now, are you doing anything special for Halloween?
Bunch of parties, actually. I've got like 3 days worth over the next 3 days of various events and parties and things to go to. So it should be fun.
Isn't it great that this year we can go to parties?
We can be social. We
Oh
can,
my
we can be
God.
out among people, you know? I mean, how exciting is that, you know? And you're wearing a mask anyway, so.
You're wearing a mask anyway. Well, my husband and I, we are actually going away for the weekend. We are going to the Hamptons for the weekend
Oh,
with
great.
2 other couples. And we're just going to enjoy ourselves and just have a nice, believe it or not, quiet weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I am so excited about today's show. I want to tell you about a concert that I went to on Friday night of last weekend. And I had a front row seat. And today I'm going to give you a front row seat as well, because I was in my pajamas. I watched it from our living room on our smart TV with Carole Demas and Sarah Rice, 2 Broadway stars. Both of them are with us today. And we're going to talk about the work that they've been doing, bringing these concerts right into your homes. And we're going to give you and our guests who are watching us today a front row seat. I'm actually going to bring this up on the screen right now. And let's just watch a little bit of their concert. And this was their celebration of the moon and October and Halloween and all that that entails.
This song was introduced by Walter Bobby as Roger, also known as Rump, with Garn Stevens, the original Jan. They were marvelous. This is another one of those long-loved Grease parody songs, and it kind of fits our plans tonight. I spend my days just mooning, so sad and blue, so sad and blue. I spend my nights just mooning all over you. Oh, I'm so full of love, as any fool can see, 'cause angels up above have hung a moon on me. Why must I go on mooning so all alone? So all alone, there would be no more mooning if you would call me up on the phone. I guess I'll keep on striking poses till my cheeks have lost their roses, mooning over you. I'll stand behind you, mooning forevermore, forevermore. Someday you'll find me mooning at your front door. At your front door. Every day at school I watch ya, always will until I got ya. Mooning too. There's a moon out tonight.
And there she is, Carole Demas. I am so glad that you're here with us today.
Stuart idea that I should sing that, and Walter just wailed it with such energy and expertise. I listened to it hundreds of times, and I thought, I can't sing that, but I did anyway, because it just was such fun to be able to do it.
Carole, of course, was the original Sandy in Grease on Broadway, and here she is. She hasn't aged a bit. She looks like she's ready to go back to Rydell High School. There you are.
Oh boy. I wouldn't go back to high school again for anything.
So, before we go into this, Judy and I were talking about Halloween. Is Halloween a special holiday for you as well?
Not as much anymore, but when we were kids on East 39th Street in Brooklyn, it was a big deal. My brothers just couldn't get enough of trying to find evil things to do to Mr. Baldwin, who was the bad guy on the block. He was this cranky old man, and all the kids really hated him because he always accused them of breaking his sidewalk when they played stickball in front of his house. And so there was that. And then my mother made us costumes, and she made my sister and me these sunflower costumes out of crepe paper. The sunflower was around our faces. And I swear I'm not thinking of this just to plug it, but I talked to you about the fact that this new magic garden may happen, and in it Paula and I will be playing the two sunflowers. We'll be voicing them, and I can't find that picture because I know if I sent it to the producers they would get a kick out of seeing that it was when I was 7 years old, I was a sunflower. So now about 80 years later, I'm a sunflower again. But yes, it was a big deal. And it was so exciting to be able to be somebody else. And when we moved here on the road we live on, which is about 1/10 of a mile from the main road, The first year we were here, I put a lighted pumpkin on the porch, and I got the candy all ready, and I had a skeleton kind of cobwebby mess on the door, and waited for the children, and nobody came because our road was too dark and scary. So nobody came.
Well,
So
I have to tell you, Judy, I mean, Carole and Stuart, they have this amazing house. They have the Magic Garden. She's a phenomenal gardener, incredible, hidden and where we saw this concert, this is their living room. So, and this is one of the things that I want to talk about. We're going to bring Ian on, who is playing in just a few moments, but they took this idea and they've created these concerts that they've done. You've done each month, am I correct?
Yes, we started last fall. So the one that we just did, that Sarah and I just did with Ian, was number 13.
All right.
And so we've been doing them every month. I haven't done all of them. Pardon?
I said appropriate for Halloween.
Yes, isn't it though? And we even had an internet issue, which we've never had. It was very spooky. So we have been doing them. It's a challenge to come up with something every month and to learn new things. I haven't done them all alone. I've probably done 8 of them alone and 3 with Sarah. And Carter Calvert did 2, and all of them I've hosted. So I hosted Carter, which means I have to, do the hair and stuff to come on and say, and here's Carter Calvert, and then come on at the end and say, and next month. And she's wonderful and had 2 great shows ready to go and just knocked people out. Mm-hmm. And then we also had Chris Groendahl, who was in the original cast of Sweeney Todd, and has been in almost, I think, every Sondheim Broadway show. And he had a show ready to go, and his wife, Sue Anderson, played for him. And that was also a break for me because
now.
I just had to say hello, and that was it. But the rest of them, you can't see these people, and you can't get any response from them. And the camera's up there, and you're singing to it, and you're just hoping that it's landing well. Mm-hmm. You don't hear a laugh. You don't hear that silence after a number really does land. Mm-hmm. You don't feel the breath. You have to have faith that it's working and that they're enjoying it. And some of them do chat during, and they send little comments, or they write you later and tell you about their favorites. And that helps too, because we want to send out things that people will enjoy. Mm-hmm. And we're focusing on Broadway only because we have a little niche there on this platform, which is called Musée.me. There aren't other Broadway people. There are lots of great, very talented people, folk, jazz, rock, all kinds of things, blues. But this is our contribution to the collection of things that goes on. So we try to have something Broadway always. And, those people are out there like you described yourself. They're in their pajamas, they've got a bottle of wine. Sometimes a bunch of people get together. Sometimes they buy multiple tickets to help us out. Sometimes they just buy one. We have no idea from the number of tickets how many people are watching, which is also kind of strange. And also you need more material in an hour or an hour and change, because there's no response, and because your frame is small and you can't move around a lot, and you don't have a lot of time between waiting for things to go down and come back up, and so you just you just keep the energy going, and the next thing you know, you need 15 songs instead of 12, and you need to talk a little more, and you need to try and find things that fit together well, the way you do with any cabaret or concert that you do. And having people like Eileen Kristen, who was the original Patty in Grease, did one with me. Mm-hmm. And we've known each other now for 50 years, since Grease is 50 years old in February. And also Sarah and I both did the Fantastics, at the Sullivan Street Playhouse in different years, in different 2-year stretches. But that's how we got to know each other. So it's great to be doing this with someone you have rapport with. So you can fool around a little and it starts to get looser. When I see myself at the beginning, I'm pretty critical. When I really want to learn how do I do this better? How do I make people comfortable and happy? And how do they want to come back? And at first, just having to, where's the camera? Am I up there and I'm looking over here? That's not good. You know, there's all that stuff you have to learn. When you have a room full of people, it's a whole other experience. But they are there, and so it's a learning curve. And I'm grateful that people keep coming back. And I hope we can keep going. And now we're discovering that some venues are more and more starting to think about live streaming and live performance at the same time. So that you have a live audience in the room, and you're also streaming to people you don't know and will never see. I mean, and you're used to performing to people you don't know. It's nice when your friends come, but you know, you don't know who they all are out there. So you certainly don't know who these people are, and they're everywhere. And with this, since it's on a stream, if they can get the stream, they could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And of course I have Stuart. I mean, he's set up our house, our space. We have no more dining room table. We have no more anything except tech.
You also have Ian, who
and I'm about to get to the fact that part of this team is Ian, with whom I have worked since the 70s.
I have never seen this woman before in my life.
He knows I'm going to get him for this.
So I want to, I mean, Ian, you know, you can jump in here if you can talk a little bit about the collaborative process. And I know, for example, talking with both Stuart and Carole, that because of COVID, they have been extremely careful and nurturing in terms of getting you to the venue. You don't have to take an Uber. You don't have to take a bus. You don't have to take public transportation. If you can talk a little bit about this in terms of the protocols and the protections that they've put in place to take care of you as far as this process has been.
Yes, that is. We used to. Stuart would pick me up because there was no way I was getting on a train or barely out of the elevator in my building. And we, at first, you know, before we were all vaccinated, we still would wear masks in the car to drive up. I'd take them off in the house and just, hi, here. So the house has been there. It's so huge that the distance was easy to keep. I mean, it was a pain, but now we're all vaxxed and ready to go, and so it's definitely a lot easier. A lot easier.
Now, have you and Carole figured out how many songs you have actually sung over the course of the past? I know you've been together how many years now?
40.
Yeah, 40 something.
Somewhere between 40 and eternity.
Yes, but how many songs have you actually done in this series? Have you figured that out?
132.
Stuart made me a list, but then I forgot to add the last 2 shows to it. And at the time we made the list, it was around 120.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. A few of them were repeats, but not very many.
No wonder I'm so tired.
So the two of you have not been able to work together physically in the same space, or have you?
Yeah, well, I come up to rehearse.
Okay.
So yes, we work at once. She came down to my place, but yeah, I go up once or twice before each show for several hours, and we work things out. And she said she sends me sheet music. I do tracks for her here and send them for her to rehearse with.
And how long into COVID did you feel comfortable enough that you would start getting together physically to start working together?
Oh, it was a while. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember that one.
Can I help? I think, we shut down in March of 2020. Was that right?
Yeah.
And Stuart and I started thinking about this that summer in August. And by October, we did our first live stream.
And I was, I have to be honest, I was still apprehensive.
We all were a bit.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, but we were trying very hard to be safe, and we didn't have vaccines yet, so.
Right. Yeah, no,
So
it's much
a
better
lot
now.
of trust involved.
Mm-hmm.
And
We all knew people who'd been sick, including Sarah.
now, as soon as I see Sarah's face in the wings, I'm going to bring her on. I can see that the camera's on. So as soon as I see your face, Sarah, I'm bringing you on.
Sarah!
She's there. I know she's there. As soon as I see the face, I'm going to... There she is. Yes.
Oh.
Ah!
Perfect!
Yes.
Am I on?
You're on.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
This is my Halloween get
Now,
up. Anyway, hello.
There you are.
Hello.
So
Through the miracle of the internet. Oh my God.
You made it.
Yes.
So, a lot of people are confused always about that incredible instrument that you play. So can you tell everyone a little bit about that?
The theremin?
The theremin.
It's the first electronic musical instrument, and it's the only instrument that you play without touching. It was invented in 1917 by a brilliant Russian scientist named Leon Terman, and which is why it's called a theremin. And it's a spatially controlled device, meaning that your movements affect the pitch. He realized that he could play radio waves. And I'm sorry?
No, it's okay. Keep going. We're getting a little bit of a feedback, but you're doing
okay.
fine.
Anyway, so you play it without touching, and people always ask me every single time I play in public, someone always comes up to me and says, were you really just humming and playing air guitar? And because of the way that I play it, if I was a string player, I would phrase very differently. If I was a horn player, I would phrase very differently. So as a singer, I phrase like a singer. So it almost sounds like an extension of my voice in the way that I use it. And it's fascinating to see how many, I belong to a theremin group, and which is worldwide, and how differently everyone can make it sound. But it is the most vocal or string-like instrument that I've ever heard. And I first heard it at Tom O'Horgan's house. He had an original RCA, which was when they were using the radio tubes inside instead of electronics. And I heard it at his house, and it was the most amazing sound. My dream someday is to have one of the old RCAs. And I was just so entranced with the sound. So, the first 2 years that I was learning to play it, I really sucked. It was like a bad violin student, child violin student. And in fact, my friends used to have to put their fist in their mouth and run out of the room laughing because it would make very funny sounds.
Sumatsuki, it's funny you say that. Sumatsuki, who's been on the show, she said when you first started playing the theremin, honestly, it was the devil spawn instrument. You really mastered it. And your vocal tone and the sound it makes is really stunning. And I agree with that. It's
thank you.
I agree with the latter part of that. I don't know about the first part. So.
It's been a lot of hard work, but but as anything to master it, what is it, the 10,000 hour thing that, to master anything, it takes 10,000 hours. So it took a couple years before I wasn't really embarrassing. But that's okay. It's like, what else am I going to do? But I enjoy it, and people are still really wigged out by it. There are people whose names I will not name that, it's like that thing, they call it that thing, that they're just wigged out by it because it doesn't compute to, it isn't like you can see a key being pressed or, You know, I'm actually playing air and electromagnetic waves. And so some people are just really wigged out by it, but that's okay. You know, some people don't like sopranos either, you know, so it's like, well, you know, you just try to find where people will like you.
Yeah. Well, so
Sometimes it's harder than others.
I want to let everyone out there know, anyone who doesn't know this, you were the original Johanna on Broadway in Sweeney Todd, a show perfect for this time of year. So I'm sure, you know, as happens every year around Halloween, there are probably shows that you're called in to do. So because of the Halloween theme and everything, as a matter of fact, I think you are going to be performing at Feinstein's in a Halloween show. One of the reasons why I also wanted you to do today's show. And then as we were talking, you said, you know, I was telling you about how much I enjoyed the concert the other night, which I loved. And you said, well, why don't you ask Carole and Ian to come on the show? And here they are. So tell us So tell us a little bit about the concert that you're doing at Feinstein's that's coming up. It's, I know that Scott Coulter and Julie Rayburn and a few other people are doing that as well.
Yes, Lucia Spina and a bunch of really wonderful people. It's called Into Sweeney Todd's Woods, and Phil Bond has been doing it for, I guess this is like our 5th year that we're doing it. They're always a little bit different depending on who can show up for that performance and stuff. But it's, and Jonathan Russell, who I've known since he was like 12, and he's now, you know, I think almost 30. That he's going to be playing the violin on it as well. So it's more than just piano this time. It's usually Phil does them with just piano, but this is with bass and violin and piano and stuff. So and maybe even drums, I think. But so it should be fun, and it's a mashup of songs from Into the Woods and Sweeney Todd. So I will be singing Greenfinch. And I am also, I guess we're not supposed to tell what we're singing, so I won't, but there's stuff from Into the Woods and Sweeney Todd. So it should be cool. And it's always a big hit. And that's, I think it's 7 p.m. on Sunday. So
I think you should throw Mooning in just to throw them a curveball.
To throw what in?
Mooning.
Oh, mooning. Yes, that would definitely be a curveball. But I'd have to do it a cappella. Did you like mooning? Wasn't that fun? Mooning over you.
Yes. Well, it can go in either direction, you know, this time of year as well. So, Ian and Carole, I want to ask both of you, how comfortable did you feel about bringing other people into the concert series? I know you didn't do it right away, but, you know, it was a while before you started bringing other artists into the series.
At first, I thought, what if they're better than I am? Then what?
I'm not hearing Carole at all. I can hear Ian, I can hear you, Richard, but I'm not. Carole sounds like I don't know what's happening.
I don't either. Does everyone else hear me all right?
I can hear you okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, at first I felt possessive, you might say, Judy.
And they have much better equipment than I do. So
and because you know, it was our baby, and then after about 6 of them, I thought, I'm exhausted. Maybe it would be a good idea to, you know, open this up a little and have a break. And around the time that we started doing that, into that time, Stuart and I adopted a dog, a big dog, who has not had much training and is a real handful. I mean, he's gorgeous, and he's a big Rhodesian Ridgeback, the same breed that we've had 5 of in the past. His owner died, and we said yes, we would take him. We had no idea what we were getting into. And you know, he's a very early riser, and he's 85 pounds and still a big puppy. So he has a voice about 4 octaves long, and it can, bust your head open. So we were starting to get kind of tired. And when the idea came along that we would maybe have a few friends who already had shows that they had been performing around the country and they were ready to go, and I could just have a presence by introducing them and talking about them just briefly and about who they are and how wonderful they are, which they are. And then they would do it. And their caliber has been amazing, and they're Broadway background people, which is part of, our theme, sort of. And I do want to say that watching Sarah play the theremin is not only an amazing experience, but we did house concerts for a while before we did these. So we kind of started getting used to being in the house doing stuff. And then we had people, and Sarah, brought the theremin to one of those, and the neighbors were here, and I promised them that their kids who are grown would be allowed to come and try it. Sarah was so patient with them, and she made it such an adventure for people who wanted to go over there and put their hands on it and go, whoa, you never knew what was going to come out. So that was all part of the fun. But I felt good about beginning to expand in some direction, and it's there. We have to try to keep it. To keep the Broadway presence, because that's our particular thing that we do that other people don't offer. And there's, this is a very competitive situation, really. And so we want, it's a lot of work, and we have expenses, and the practical side of it is that it costs money to do it. And so you really want to find your place in all of this. And there are a lot of people who are singing from home. Not all of them are as fortunate as I am to have, a husband who is a very major sound designer and a technical whiz. So that is a big plus for me.
Yes, well, Stuart was on our show. Judy, you may recall, when we first started doing this, and I think that the first time that Stuart was here, Stuart, you are muted, your mic, so if you can unmute your mic. I think that the first time that Stuart was here was just as you were first starting to talk about this experience. Had you done any of the concerts at that point, Stuart?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
No, the first time that you came on our show.
No.
You had not done any of the concerts.
No, not yet.
So you were starting to do them. Can you talk about the evolution of, I know where you were in terms of what your goals were with this organization and what you've been able to accomplish and create with this. And if you've met your expectations or if you've exceeded those expectations.
Well, we haven't exceeded them because the expectation is many thousands of people watching. We haven't quite gotten to that level yet, but we've had, in the course of the 13 shows that we've done, over 1,500 viewers combined, and enough money come in to pay for the piano tuning every month and pay for the various PR things that we do every month, and send some money to Ian and send some money to Sarah and send some money to the other guest artists who have been there, and keep our head above water and cover our own expenses, which include cameras and microphones and other things that we've added along the way. We added a second camera so we could do close-ups of Ian when he has his glorious virtuoso moments, and we keep trying to improve the technical side of it as much as we can, constantly, to keep it as good as we can possibly make it.
Well, did you want to say something, Judy? I'm sorry.
Well, I just think that it's terrific the way you've been able to collaborate and really, bring in other people. And I think, one of the questions that Richard was alluding to earlier was, with COVID, you know, how difficult that was to make the decision pre-vaccination to bring in other artists.
Yeah, Sarah was like the first one, right? The first guest after that.
No, actually, Carter was.
Carter.
Well, but Sarah's the first person that I worked with.
Yes.
And honestly, I felt really safe with Sarah. There's something about her.
I agree.
If that doesn't go anywhere, I have no life. I was sequestered.
We've all been buried. We really have. But you know, as long as you're talking to Stuart, Richard, I would love for him to tell you that he is not only, you know, mixing the sound for our show now, with the wonders of tech. He sits at his desk, and any number of other shows a week that are done on that platform, he is mixing from here. Isn't that astonishing? That's just astonishing to me.
Yeah.
And he really makes a tremendous difference in the quality of other people's work from other venues near and far. It's amazing.
That's great. And, you know, I've said, you know, from the very beginning that, you know, one thing that I've learned this past year is year and a half plus, myself included, you've got a camera, you've got a mic, everyone thinks that they can do this. And some people just get out there and they don't care about what they put out there. I do. And, you know, I've reached out to Matt Berman, who helped me with lighting and, you know, and which I applaud him for. I used to drive Danny, my husband, crazy because he would literally leave the house before I would start a show because I would go, the lights are not right or the sound would not be right. You know, until I got my Blue Yeti microphone, there was an issue with the sound, and you get everything set up, and you know this better than anyone, Stuart. And then the moment that everything goes right, Sarah dealt with this today. We did a test yesterday, but the moment that you sit down to start the show, the internet gods go crazy, fluey, and everything goes awry, and you don't know what you're going to get. And then stuff goes out into the internet world. You know, someone was suggested to me this week for a possible interview. And I said, unfortunately, as much as this is a person that's beloved in the community, this person has put a lot of content out there that is less than good because this person has bad lighting, bad sound, a bad setup in his apartment. And every time he goes on the air, people turn off. There's another podcast, and one of the hosts has a very shrill speaking voice, and the sound engineer is not adjusting the sound when this person speaks. So kudos to you, Stuart, for all you do. So we appreciate the sound engineers.
Yay, Stuart.
Thanks.
Yes.
It's constantly tricky, and we're always dealing with variables, some of which we have no control over. And you're absolutely right, Richard, that stuff happens no matter what you do. We have, during the course of 13 of these, had 2 serious technical problems, even though we do our particular mode of work is that I do a test stream with the musée people the day before or 2 days before, just to make sure that all of our equipment is up and running and doing all the right stuff. And we do a test stream and we check all kinds of things, including the synchronization of sound and video, which can drift because of the way the internet works and the way the various streaming platforms work. So we do a test a day or 2 ahead of time, and then we do a sound check 2.5 hours before the show or 2 hours before the show with the Carole and Sarah and Ian or whoever it is that's performing. So we do a whole sound check ahead of time, and then we go live at 15 minutes early with a pre-roll that runs for 15 minutes, and then we have a little 30-second countdown, and away we go, and we go live. So with all of that, and with people monitoring us remotely and all this other stuff. We have still had 2 problems. One time we lost sound for reasons that I had no idea, but we had to reboot a bunch of stuff all of a sudden, even though we had tested it and we thought everything was okay. And then this past Friday, we lost the internet. It turns out we were not the only ones who lost the internet. I subsequently learned other people in the neighborhood also lost the internet. It wasn't for terribly long, but it was long enough to screw up our modem and router. And so we only had half a show, but we always record the shows locally. So we record in-house, if you will. And so I was able to then edit the 2 pieces together and then re-upload it all, and then anybody got a full show at that point. But it just took some fancy dancing on our part to make that all happen.
But can I say something about Musée and their customer service division?
Sure.
I got a phone call from them apologizing. I mean, who does that? A phone call. I mean, and which I couldn't believe that they took the time. Yep. I don't know if they did that with everybody who bought a ticket.
Yeah, they did.
They did. So if anyone from Musée is watching, and I hope you are, but thank you. It was just a real nice touch.
They take their customer service pretty seriously. There is somebody from Musée monitoring every single show, and they have lots of shows, and sometimes they've many shows going on simultaneously. So there are multiple people that they have who, so somebody's monitoring us and somebody else is monitoring, and they watch and listen to the whole show. And so they also look at the chat in case anybody's having technical problems, and they put it in the chat. So they monitor that too. And they're terrific at that.
May I add, for people who might be and I hope a lot of people are watching you today, that one of the things we love about Musée is that there's no time limit on the availability of the shows that we do, that anyone does. Once they're completed and they've been recorded and they're up on the Musée platform, they're there forever. So if you missed a show and you think, oh, it's too late, you can always buy a ticket and watch it some other time, or buy it ahead of time and suddenly you can't get there on Friday night, you can watch it another time. They are all continuously available, and you can purchase them. You can look at some of the shows we made a year ago, just buying a ticket now, which is a really nice feature, I think. I really appreciate that. That's special, I think.
Yeah, I'm curious, since you do have the ability to pre-record all this, right? As you were saying, you do a rehearsal and you can pre-record all of it.
Right.
Would it be safer to air, I guess that's my question, to air the pre-recorded versions rather than attempting to do them live? And since there's no audience, it doesn't make a huge difference.
It's not the same, though.
That's right. It's not the same.
The adrenaline is different.
Yeah, energy's different. It's
It
live.
would be like us taping
Live
this.
is good.
Yeah. There's a whole different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even without the audience, it's still a different energy. That's kind of
There's an audience that's there.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
the
Not
audience
there
has
when
the
you're taping.
opportunity to they can do comments across the screen and that kind of stuff. And so even though we don't see them while we're performing, but that they're interacting that way, and that makes that puts you on your Sunday best.
Safe
It's
space.
just a different energy. I'm sorry.
This from someone who wouldn't play his new piece that was so wonderful. Yeah, Ian played something for us before the show that he was just writing. It came to him the day before and was called Mad Playground.
Yeah.
Mad Playground. Isn't that a great title? Yeah. And he played it for us, and it was wonderful. And we said, Ian, we have to put that in the show. And then when we got around to getting close to the show, he said, I can't remember it enough, not going to do it. See, so
It wasn't in me enough.
It wasn't gelled yet. But still, if he had gone ahead and done it, it would have been another one of those risks,
That-
and there is an energy about that.
That spot where we had planned to put that song is the exact spot the internet went down.
It's true. It's true. It's true. That's exactly what happened.
So you've got to create a called Mad Internet.
He'll do it. He'll do it. won't
Stage before the stage clearing before each broadcast.
Yeah, I know that Sarah is going to be doing a live concert at Feinstein's coming up. Ian, have you gone back to doing live performances?
I have done a few and some, like Mamas and Birdland and out of town a few. In fact, I'm going tomorrow to Feinstein's in Indiana to do a show.
Oh, wow.
With Sharon McNight. I was there a few months ago with also with Carol Bufford.
Wow. Well, Sharon McNight has been on our show as well. So, and we love both of them. So give them both our love.
So I've not done 54. I've not been back there. And of course, Beachman.
I will say this. I've been to Feinstein's 54 Below. It is the only club that I have been to a few times in New York. I'm going to a big gala event on Monday night celebrating Maltby and Shire. I just did an interview with both of them, and I've been invited to the gala, so I am going. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's nice to be getting out again and doing these things. And, so I'm looking forward to that. We are going to run out of time in a moment, but what about you, Carole? You're still not comfortable going out and doing live performances yet?
Well, not quite yet. We had visitors from California. My friend from Joy Rinaldi from Greece, original cast, known her for 50 years. She and her husband, they had their shots. They're very careful. They stopped on the way to New York to her weekend of her, I don't know if it's a high school or college reunion. Everybody's up there now, and they felt okay because all the precautions were being taken. They stopped and spent a couple days with friends in Michigan, and they came here, and we were all very careful. They stayed in the city except for 2 nights when they were here, and we kept our distance even though we've all been inoculated and whatever. And damn, when they got home, she got sick and her husband tested positive, and the people in Michigan were both very sick. And so just when you think that you've got everything under control, you don't necessarily. But I'm glad that you asked me. I mean, I'm raring to go. I would love to have real people. We had a handful of them for the show that I did with Eileen Kristen. It just kind of happened, and all of a sudden we had, her boyfriend, and Carter was here because her husband was playing drums, and Carter had a friend, and so there were maybe 8 people in our space, and all of them spread out, and we had
Marilyn.
We had a surprise visitor because another friend of Carter's came, and she brought Marilyn May, and there was Marilyn May in our home, and she.
Well, Marilyn May will go anywhere. She is. She is everywhere.
And she's the most interesting person. She picked up a pine cone outside our door as she was coming in, and she was fascinated by it. And she said, "May I keep this?" Of course, you can have a bushel of pine cones if you want them. But everything in our home, she was interested in. Where did that come from? What is that? No, it was just, she's so alert and aware of almost everything. Wow. And before I leave you, can I say something about the new project? Richard, would that be all right?
But hold on for just a moment.
Okay.
You're going to run out of time.
I don't have to,
I want you to, but you're going to be able to say whatever you want in a moment. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a few final words, and then each of you have a moment to say whatever you want as a closing remarks. It can be about anything. What was that?
I said, "Oh God."
It can be about anything that we talked about. It can be about anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had. It could be about any message that you want to put out to the world. It could be about something you want to say to Sharon McNight that you've always wanted to say.
You're trying to get me fired?
And I hope she's watching. I love her dearly.
Oh,
She's
she
one of
is
my favorite.
Yes, I love her too.
Yes. So anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to say my closing remarks. I'm going to leave the screen, and then we're going to go in this order: Carole, Ian, Sarah, Stuart, and we'll leave with Dr. Bloom. My closing remarks is, first of all, happy Halloween. I want to thank Sarah. First of all, thank you all for a phenomenal concert.
Thank you.
Stuart, can they still go on and order the concert?
Absolutely.
You can still go to
yes.
Musée. I'm going to have all the details on YouTube. So just go click on the link and you can go and order the concert and watch it at any time in your pajamas. You can howl at the moon. You can mooning. You can you can do whatever you want. Just go and watch this and support these artists, whether they're performing virtually or live. I wanted to get rid of the word subscriber on YouTube, because the word subscriber to me is faceless. I think it just means it's faceless entities out there. And all of you mean more to me than that. So I just have a little button on my banner on YouTube, and it says join the celebration. Click on it. And
That's great, Richard.
yes, hit the like button on this video if you like today's show. Share this with your friends, and leave a comment, because what that does is that increases the ranking of this video. And the more people you tell about this, the more that we'll see this, and the more we'll learn about all of us and Musée and the great work that they're doing. And the next concert is when?
December 10th.
December 10th. And that information will be on here as well. I always end all of my shows by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Now, the next show is December 10th. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go and I want you to order 2 tickets. The wonderful thing about Musée is you can pay whatever you want for these tickets. You can buy a $5 ticket if you want to buy a $5 ticket for a friend. Treat a friend to a show, and they can watch it at any time they want to. And it's going to be Carole Demas in concert for the holidays. So do that. And have a safe Halloween. And Dr. Bloom and I will be back here next month with other treats, no tricks. Thank you, and have a wonderful Halloween. I love you all. Goodbye.
Love
Sarah,
you, Richard.
Carole,
Richard. Yes, okay, I'm here. Richard, that was really sweet, really kind of you. Thank you. And I hope some people will join us. I may have a guest. I don't know yet. I still have puppy fatigue. I can't stand it. But we're doing it. And I want to just say that Richard gave me a minute to tell you all that there is this project afoot. It's been afoot for 2 years now, called The New Magic Garden. 3 fans of ours who are producers and have something like 35 Emmys in the children's category of television between them, honest to God, and writing awards as well. We're all fans as children. Somehow or other, God was good to us. They found Paula and me doing a show for our adult fans, and one of them came, and it went on from there. So now there's an Indiegogo site for people to help us make this happen, and it's going to be animated, and we will be little girls 7 years old in this new edition. And Paula and I, of course, are obviously not 7. We weren't 7 when we did the first show. We sure aren't 50 years later. But we will be the Sunflowers, who are, characters, a couple of grandmas who are cut-ups and an adult part of it. And there's also a documentary in the works called Magic Garden, Magic Women, which we've been shooting pieces of, and these filmmakers of Out of the Woods Productions have been following us around for more than 2 years now. And it all started because of their Halloween costumes on the streets of Woodstock, where they were us and Sherlock. And it got out there and we met them. So you just never know. You do the best you can in your life. And if you have a talent, if you were blessed with a gift and you share it and you give as much of it as you can, you never know where it'll go, who will see it, who will be touched by it. So, you know, I'm scared too. You know, we are all scared sometimes. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been in this business for 60 years and I'm still scared. So just, you know, give what you can. And thank you for the time, Richard. I appreciate the opportunity to tell people about it. It's on Indiegogo if you're curious. Just go to look because we made a fun video. Even if you don't have any money or you don't care about the project, go look at the video. Goodbye, everyone.
And thank you, Ian. And thank you, Sarah.
Yep.
And thank you, my darling husband.
Well, I have nothing to add to that, except Carole, it was very nice to meet you tonight.
God.
That's all I got.
What?
Sarah,
Is that
you're
it?
on.
Oh, you-
Yeah,
Is it
Sarah, go
me?
ahead.
is Sarah?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Hello. Anyway, thank you, Carole and Stuart and Ian, for the opportunity to be performing in this age of suspended animation. And it's been a really wonderful time. I've learned so much, and I am appreciative. And I love you guys so much. You're, you know, of course, very dear friends to me and close to me. And I love performing with you. And I just love the fact that you give 10,000% of yourselves every single time. You don't just try to do your best. You try to do even better than your best. And I love you guys for that. And thank you so much. And Richard, you're the same. And I'm just feeling very grateful to be doing what we love to do. And I hope that everybody stays safe and is well. And, you know, just trying to put some love out in the world, and just very grateful to be doing what we do. I think music is a great healer. And, you know, I get notes all the time from people who have seen the Musée concerts and have said, you know, thank you so much in a time when people are shut off from everything else. And, you know, that it's quality and it's almost as good as coming to New York to be sitting in the cabaret rooms. So it's just, and it's its own thing too. But anyway, thank you so much, Richard and Stuart and Carole and Ian, for, you know, making all of this possible. I'm extremely grateful and appreciative. And I love you all. And I love all of you who tuned in today. Thank you so much. And everyone, please be well, be safe, and continue to thrive. And that's what we're trying to do. Anyway, thank you. Bye.
Bye, Sarah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm also thanking Richard and Dr. Bloom and Carole, Sarah, and Ian, of course, and unabashed self-promotion. If you go to either caroledemas.com, CAROLE Demas, DEMAS.com, there's links to all of our shows and also to the promo thing she was talking about. There's links to that there too. So also on musee.me, there are many shows of all kinds of stuff, classical, folk, pop, rock, you name it. There's all kinds of stuff there that's worth exploring, including our shows. They're all very high quality. They're all really nice. I mix a chunk of them, a lot of the classical stuff that's done at St. John's in the Village and various other venues. It's really amazingly good stuff generally, and wonderfully well produced. So if you're home, and like Richard said, you can $5 will get you a ticket to any of these things, or almost any of them. Some are start a little more. Or you can spend $100. You can spend whatever you like to help support arts and artists, and it's extraordinarily appreciated by everyone involved, and it keeps us all going. So thank you everyone. Ciao.
Ciao. And since this is the season of the witch and ghosts and goblins and all things scary, and I am a shrink, I even have my own shrunken head here. I wanted to talk about fear because that's what Halloween is all about. It's about, being scared of things and facing all of those things that we're truly scared of and allowing ourselves to feel those fears. Well, one of the things I want to impress upon people is not to fear the fake stuff. Don't catastrophize things. Don't, predict the future. I know what's going to happen. No, you don't. You don't have a crystal ball that works. It's about paranoia and phobias and conspiracies and all those fake things that people worry about. Get rid of them. Those are not the fears that you need to face. The ones you need to face are the real concerns: climate change, the state of democracy, COVID. Those are real things, but they're not things to be feared. They're challenges to be met. As FDR said, the only thing to fear is fear itself. So face those fears. Don't let fear run your life. Good night.